Welcome everyone. In today's episode, how AI is saving institutional investors millions and why most LPs are still doing it wrong. Sophisticated LPs managing billions in private markets are still drawing in spreadsheets, manual data entry, and reporting chaos. Andrea Carnelli spent years at Pantheon Ventures analyzing more than 50 billion in assets and saw the same inefficiencies everywhere. Now, as CEO of Tamarix Technologies, he's built the AI-powered solution that's transforming how institutional investors actually operate, saving costs, accelerating decisions, and revealing blind spots they never knew existed. Today, he's breaking down what's broken, what AI can actually fix, and why the LPs who don't adapt will lose a competitive battle they don't even know they are fighting. Hi, Andrea. It's a pleasure to have you here at Zinnia in our media channel. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks for having me today.
Your background is super interesting. You've been working on a big asset manager on the research team. You now are on the innovation side of the equation. Let's do a little bit of a ping pong. So, Andrea, you went from heading research at Pantheon Ventures, managing due diligence and analysis for a 50 billion plus private market firm, to building Tamarix Technologies, an AI-powered operating system for LPs. What was a breaking point? What inefficiency or frustration made you realize the industry needed a completely different technological infrastructure?
Yeah, thanks. So while working in the industry, I saw world-class investors basically wasting time cleaning the data instead of analyzing it. Because private markets are running on PDFs and spreadsheets. That's still the truth for most private market investors. And that's totally crazy if you think that there are roughly 10 trillion, if not more, attached to the asset class. So that's when I realized that I had to kind of rethink about this and rethink the data infrastructure from the ground up and build something that could handle that. And that's how Tamarix was born.
Jumping more into what investors, so LPs, are actually struggling with. At Pantheon, you were analyzing private market funds at scale, right? From that point, what are the top 3 operational challenges sophisticated investors face that most GPs don't even realize are slowing down their capital allocation decisions?
Yeah, I would say ultimately the key frictions in private markets are unstructured data, fragmented systems, and very slow reporting cycles. So what happens is that LPs end up spending a lot of time tracking notifications, recovering documents from GP portals, extracting the data, but also normalizing it in a way that allows them to do monitoring, reporting, and managing capital as well. And all these things combined create a massive drag on speed, accuracy, and ultimately performance, because it delays capital accomplishment decisions.
Everything is about AI right now. Everyone from tech people, from traditional industries, there's a lot of hype around AI in finance, but private market due diligence involves qualitative judgment, relationship assessment, pattern recognitions that seems inherently human, right? How does AI actually affect the investment decision-making process on an institutional scale?
Well, I would say in short, AI is not replacing human judgment. It's actually freeing it. You're right. There's a lot of soft information you need to be able to capture, harness, and digest to be able to evaluate managers. But as an investor, you want to spend time doing that instead of wrangling data. So I think where we see AI having a massive impact is putting the data into a standardized format so that you can save time with data entry tasks and actually use that time for the activities you've mentioned.
Great. But going a little bit more granular, what can AI do and where does the personal experience remain irreplaceable?
100%. So I would say at least in our case, where we see AI having a massive impact is in the tracking of GP documents and extracting our GP information and standardization of data from GP reports. So imagine you have 100 commitments, you get bombarded with notifications, you need to keep track of those, you need to recover the documents from the portals, you need to extract the data. All of that can be automated. But everything else downstream from that, which is looking at your track record, understanding how it stacks up against benchmarks, having a reference call with other LPs, or jumping on a call with a GP to dig deeper into a deal they've made. That's ultimately something that I think still has to be driven by humans.
You know, Andrea, very well that private market lacks on the technology stack, but LPs actually need it a lot. I've been working myself on the GP side. I've been working myself on the LP side. I suffer it from the LP side, all the single documents that you mentioned before. And let's jump on more into Tamarix, right? Tamarix automates data entry, monitoring, reporting, and portfolio analysis, right? Walk us through the tech stack that makes this possible. And for LPs evaluating whether to build an internal solution versus adopt platforms like Tamarix, what's your framework to say buy versus build decision?
Yes. So if you think about the input to an LP monitoring system, which are all the communications that your people send, and you think about the dream outcome, which is something like Bloomberg for private markets, something you log in and you see all your portfolio, all your performance, all your exposures, you could leave on the reporting. That's exactly what we're trying to do with Tamarix. So it is that one system that you log into and allows you to view all your investments without having to deal with the GP documents directly through the manual processes. That is what we are trying to deliver. Tech stack wise, how does that work? Well, we have a big AI core that takes care of monitoring notifications, recovering the documents, extracting the data. And then we have a SaaS software built on top of that uses the structured data to support you in your reporting, monitoring, and workflows. On the decision whether to buy or make, I think that in general, I always use the same rule of thumb. Buy what is standardized, build what is strategic. And I think for most LPs, data standardization is better done by a firm that, focuses on that. And I think LPs should then focus on what is strategic to them, which is more maximizing risk-adjusted returns.
Very interesting, Andrea. You mentioned about the strategic piece of the pie. How Tamarix helps LPs take better investment decisions. Could you provide us a few examples?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, there's by automating data entry, you get data quicker under your fingertip. Some examples where we help our clients make better investment decisions are monitoring. So, for instance, our clients will have a very detailed understanding of the underlying companies in a fund. So just before a GP call, they will be able to very quickly identify what companies have driven proceeds, costs, changes in fair value. So our clients will be incredibly prepared before a GP call in asking the right questions around the right companies. That's one example. On the analytics side, we offer our clients forecasted analytics to forecast liquidity and NAV under different scenarios. And this allows our clients to make better capital deployment decisions, to better pace their commitments, and to better manage their liquidity. This is just a couple of examples.
Jumping more into the future of private markets, right? As the market advances very quick, we would like to have your thoughts on years ahead. Looking 3-5 years ahead, what does technology infrastructure for private markets investing look like?
I think that we're moving towards a more continuous real-time operation setup where data flows more quickly and more seamlessly between GPs and LPs, at least to those LPs that are set up to process this information efficiently. So we think in this world where there's more information coming more frequently, if you stay manual, you're going to stay behind. You're going to suffer under this deluge of data. Not so much because you lack capital, but you just lack the infrastructure and ability to respond to this information at speed. So we believe that the future is way more connected, AI powered, and I think it's already taking shape today.
Totally agree with that view. Where do you see the biggest gaps that still needs solving in the market?
Well, there's a lot of efforts around standardizing the reporting by GPs towards LPs. And I think that's a good initiative because it does allow LPs to build more structured analytics downstream. I think we're still behind proper standardization. And especially when it comes to company level information, one of the biggest challenges in private markets is that there are no unique identifiers for companies. And this makes it very hard to compare different GPs investing in the same company, or sometimes to track the same company across different time periods of the same GP, because the names change, the IDs change. So I think having a more structured ISIN-like approach to company-level information is going to unlock very powerful and helpful analytics.
Super interesting. The market is advancing quite fast. AI also is advancing quite fast in the market across the different domains, from investor relations, operations, portfolio management, investment decisions, as you mentioned before. It's been a pleasure to be speaking here with you, Andrea. Thanks a lot for participating in our media channel, and we'll be looking forward to have you again to speak about your view in private markets overall. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me, Leo.